goes to the limit with 2 great offers on 2 exciting rides. Want fun and adventure? Check out Pontiac Sunfire. Finally, a real set of wheels you can really afford. Just $169 a month with a 48-month GMAC Smart Lease. Want luxury with attitude? Experience the excitement of Bonneville, one of the world's finest sports sedans. Just $289 a month with a 36-month GMAC Smart Lease. 2 great offers, 2 great Pontiacs for a limited time only. Go to the limit. See your Pontiac dealer today.
As an adult, you can't hide behind a teddy bear, but you can go to Meineke. They take the scare out of brake repair with high-quality parts and service at that great Meineke price. So Meineke will take care of you, okay?
At Meineke, you're not going to pay a lot, but you'll get a lot.
I guarantee it.
Tomorrow night, Johnny Mosley, the Olympic gold medal winner, is here, along with Susan Sullivan, who is an actress known and beloved by all America. It happens to be true. If most car accidents occur within 5 miles of home, why don't you all just move 10 miles away? Good night, everybody.
If you can dream it, you can do it. Play the Crystal Light Refreshing Adventures game. You could win instantly. Just check the barcode on your Crystal Light against the one in our ad in these magazines. If it matches, you'll win a $20,000 prize, as unique as you are.
It's silky, it's naughty, and it comes in black cherry. Breyer's Light non-fat yogurt with the indulgent flavors of your favorite desserts. Breyer's Light yogurt tastes naughty, but it's not.
The kids are gone now, they're out of style.
Introducing the 98 DeVille Special Edition with sunroof, leather, memory seat and mirrors, and chrome wheels. All at a $1,500 savings. And with factory-to-dealer cash, you could save up to $3,500 right now.
Hey, it's so thrilling. Now you're willing to make a whoopee.
See your Cadillac Super Network dealers.
A morbid hospital mix-up. Next American Journal. You're watching KYW3. Live from Independence Mall. This is Eyewitness News.
Nature on a rampage. Vicious tornadoes devastate portions of central Florida, destroying lives and homes. Good evening, everyone. I'm Larry King.
And I'm Trina Robinson. The magnitude of the carnage is terrifying. At least 38 people killed, 13 missing, 250 hurt, and thousands of homes and businesses are wrecked. The deadly tornado struck during darkness, taking everyone by surprise as they slept and making them a living nightmare. Looking at this devastation, we can only begin to imagine what it was like for those who were there. Buildings were ripped apart around them. People were thrown hundreds of feet or crushed under falling debris. A toddler was actually torn from his father's arms. The hardest hit areas are north and south of Orlando. Experts say some tornadoes had winds of more than 200 miles an hour.
We just dove in the hallway, and everything blew over top of us.
I've seen bad storms, but to see something like that in the dark, that's bad.
Everything was flying all over, furniture and everything out of the cupboards, the dishes and food.
In one neighborhood, a pickup truck stands on end in a building. Tens of thousands of people are still without electricity or phones, and officials say it'll be weeks before they're restored.
Well, so far this winter in our area, we've seen mild temperatures, peaceful weather, but also some wild nor'easters to interrupt the week. And guess what? Another one is on the way. Portions of it are here right now. Here's what we're looking at. It's still south of the Philadelphia region and should pass through and be out of here by tomorrow morning. The rain will taper off, but the wind will stay with us throughout Tuesday. This was the scene at the shore earlier tonight. Just minor flooding in most areas, but that's really not what they need there. Flooding upon flooding upon flooding. High tides reach about 1.5 feet above normal. Meteorologist Tom Lemaine, who called this one, will be along in just a few minutes to let us know when the threat of flooding will subside.
There's open skepticism in Washington that Saddam Hussein will keep the agreement signed today to end the crisis in Iraq. United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan stopped in Paris after arranging the deal in Baghdad. He briefed French President Chirac and will present the agreement to the UN Security Council tomorrow in New York. Saddam Hussein and his top aides discussed the deal, which provides UN weapons inspectors free access to all of the sites. After Annan and Iraq's Deputy Foreign Minister Tariq Aziz signed the agreement, Annan and President Clinton had this reaction.
You can do a lot with diplomacy, but of course, You can do a lot more with diplomacy backed up by firmness and force.
If Iraq fails to comply this time, to provide immediate, unrestricted, unconditional access to the weapons inspectors, there will be serious consequences.
The president said the large U.S. military presence in Kuwait and in the Persian Gulf will remain for 3 more months, just as a precaution. That means dozens of people from our area won't be coming home anytime soon.
And their loved ones are keeping an eye on the Gulf, hoping the situation stays calm. Tonight, Eyewitness News reporter Ren Scott talked with some of those whose thoughts are far, far away.
Actually, I don't feel it's a relief. I think it's prolonging it.
For Tamika Carr of Chester and her 3 sons, the UN agreement with Saddam offers little comfort. In fact, to her, it means that her husband Reginald will be stationed in the Gulf even longer while this cat-and-mouse game goes on.
If they're going to do it, go over there and take care of it and then get out so we can, everybody can get back to their normal lives instead of having to sit and wait every day and watch TV and wonder what's going to happen next.
I would sincerely hope that there wouldn't be any war. Nobody wins when there's a war. But that presence right there is too valuable to right now to be moved away.
Suzanne Person of Haverford also followed the negotiations very carefully. Her son Andy is aboard the USS Guam, now in the Persian Gulf. She feels the president is right to seek a diplomatic solution, but does not think it will bring her son home any sooner.
If the agreement is good and peace can be had, fine. If not, they're right there ready to help it along.
Bottom line, both families sense that the agreement with Saddam will not hold, and military action is almost inevitable somewhere down the line.
He signed the contract in '91, and look what happened there. I mean, then now it's 98 and same thing, 7 years, he's still playing the same games.
Now, in the past 24 hours, both Reginald Card and Andy Person have talked with their families by phone and told them they are aware of the agreement, but they also suggested the agreement has little effect on their current situation. They're still on alert, still ready to go. That's the latest live in the newsroom. I'm Ren Scott. Let's go back to Larry and Trina.
Okay, thank you, Ren.
A big victory today for New Jersey's Megan's Law. The U.S. Supreme Court rejected an appeal by released sex offenders that could have made it illegal to notify residents when a convicted sex offender moves into their community. The law was named after 7-year-old Megan Kanka, who was killed in 1994 by her neighbor Jesse Temendakwas, a convicted child molester. Megan's mother had this advice for other parents.
When they're notified of that offender, to take that information, make their children aware of who the person is. This law will not benefit any child if they don't know who the offender is, and let them know that you stay away from this person.
Since the Supreme Court didn't issue a formal ruling, the case may not be completely closed on Megan's Law. Other challenges to the community notification part of the law may come up in the future, and the Supreme Court could, in fact, issue a formal ruling.
In Pennsylvania, the search is on for a killer who took the life of a well-liked dance instructor in King of Prussia. And tonight, Eyewitness News is live on the scene.
Eyewitness News anchor Dawn Stenslin talked to the victim's friend. She joined us live with that. Dawn, what can you tell us?
I can tell you that right now there are 20 detectives who are working around the clock. They have been working around the clock from Lower Merion Police trying to catch a killer. Let me show you where the murder happened. It happened in the basement of this luxury apartment building in a dance studio. The big question tonight, did Joan DeMarco actually know her killer? Tonight, I talked to one of her friends who told me Joan DeMarco will be greatly missed.
She was really dedicated and a beautiful dancer. Really talented dancer.
Joan DeMarco loved to dance, and it showed. Whether she was teaching at her dance studio or performing, as in this ballroom dinner dance showcase, DeMarco always looked her best.
Her hair was always nice, her physique. She had a beautiful figure for a person that age.
That age was 66. Ernest Schultz couldn't believe the news Sunday when police responded to the marquee luxury apartments in King of Prussia and found DeMarco murdered in her basement dance studio.
DeMarco died of blunt trauma to the head.
And on our website, Serve Safely.
For the fun time of their life, enroll your children in the Goddard Summer Program, a 2 to 11-week program of fantastic activities, especially for the 4 to 10-year-old who's bored with their regular routine. Come visit your local Goddard school now or call 1-800-GODDARD and see how you can save on enrollment. There's swimming, nature outings, golf, kite flying, trips to the zoo, and much, much more. For a Goddard summer your children will never forget. Call 1-800-GODDARD now.
Today's the day homeowners can start toward a brighter future.
Today's the day you can begin to save hundreds of dollars a month. Today's the day to call 1-800-CHAMPION for our Pay Down Your Debt program.
Find out how you can have a zero credit card balance on your very next bill.
Imagine a zero balance on your very next bill.
It can all begin today.
No time like the present. No day like today.
Can your bank help you today? When your bank says no, Champion says yes.
Volvo introduces a welcome alternative to vehicles designed to go off-road. A vehicle designed to stay on it. The all-wheel drive cross-country. Visit our website to learn more about it. Serve safely.
Action News, the most watched news program in the Delaware Valley.
As a public service to our late-night viewers, Channel 6 now presents a rebroadcast of tonight's 11 o'clock news.
Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program, with Gary Papa, Dave Roberts, and Jim Gardner.
Monday night is a dramatic rescue for a man and his dogs caught in floodwaters, and a South Jersey school board has a serious warning for pranksters. But the big story on Action News tonight is the agreement that has persuaded the United States to step back from the brink of war with Iraq. UN Secretary General Kofi Annan and Iraqi Deputy Prime Minister Tariq Aziz signed the document in Baghdad. But at the same time, the United States will maintain its current force in the Gulf until the White House and the Pentagon are convinced that Saddam Hussein complies with the latest deal. In Washington, President Clinton offered his cautious support of the agreement, but made the point time and again that the agreement on paper must be put into practice.
What really matters is Iraq's compliance, not its stated commitments. Not what Iraq says, but what it does.
Clinton said one thing is clear, that the military buildup and the threat of American force played a vital role in convincing Saddam Hussein to come to an agreement. The deal, for all intents and purposes, brings the issue of weapons inspections back to 1991, the way it was after the Persian Gulf War. The major exception, UN inspectors, including Americans, will be accompanied on their rounds by a contingent of diplomats. Saddam Hussein has charged that the American weapons inspectors are spies. The deal includes provisions as required by the United States, immediate unrestricted access to possible weapons-making sites, access to those controversial presidential sites, and inspectors may repeat their visits with no time deadlines. And perhaps the most convincing provision as far as Iraq is concerned, the promise that UN economic sanctions could be eased or even lifted if Iraq fully complies with the agreement. Action News reporter Vernon Odom is live in Washington tonight. Vernon, the agreement seems to assure that Saddam won't be able to make or use chemical and biological weapons. That is, if he follows all the rules. What is the reaction in the nation's capital?
It's wait and see, Jim. One of the prevailing questions of the 90s here in Washington has been, can Saddam Hussein be trusted? And he's proven time and again he cannot be. With that, I turn to Senator Robert Torricelli, just back from the Middle East. Senator, do you buy Saddam's sincerity this time?
Well, the United States never enters into an agreement with an adversary based on trust. We have 50 years of having agreements with the Soviet Union. We trusted them even less, and they were even more dangerous. These agreements are only entered into if they are verifiable and enforceable. This agreement will be worth something only so long as there's 350 American combat planes in the region and 32,000 soldiers. The minute they leave, the agreement wouldn't be worth the paper it's written on.
So how long can you leave them there and leave Saddam Hussein in power? That gets awfully expensive, tough on morale of troops in that 110-day...
Very tough. I was out on the Persian Gulf the last several days on the USS Independence. These sailors are already tired. Some of them have been out for 6 months on duty. It's going to cost a lot of money, and that's the problem here. And no doubt that's exactly what Saddam Hussein is counting on, that for a few weeks, a few months, it'll be all right, he'll comply. but will we still care then and be on station?
You don't trust him at all, then? This is going to fall through. This is not a real agreement, then?
I don't trust him at all. I think that there will be points at which he will clearly keep testing us, cheat along the way, and the minute we pull any of those forces out, he'll go into non-compliance.
So do you agree with Senator Specters, who says depose him now and bring him before a war crimes tribunal?
If it were that easy, we would have done it a long time ago. George Bush would have done it, and Bill Clinton would have done it. Finding him, getting him out, is just not a simple proposition.
Thank you very much. That's Senator Robert Torricelli, just back from the Middle Eastern regions where the troops are standing down right now. Vernon Odom, Channel 6 Action News, reporting live from Washington. Jim?
Thank you, Vernon. Thank you, Senator. In Central Florida, officials are calling it the deadliest swarm of tornadoes ever. 6 to 10 twisters plowed through the midsection of the state from the Gulf to the Atlantic. Authorities say there is no doubt that El Nino fueled this storm. The death toll stands at 38 tonight, but 12 other people are still missing. More than 250 people have been hurt. At the height of the storm, 140,000 people lost their power. Houses have been torn out of the ground. Whole communities have been plundered. A woman in Osceola County crawled to safety only to find that her neighbors were the victims of this tragedy.
And I kept pushing stuff away, and I crawled on my stomach out of the trailer. And I got out, and I looked next door, and the trailer was gone. The trailer that was next door was gone.
Floods have crippled many areas. As much as 5 inches of rain fell just yesterday. And El Nino is again causing havoc in California. Some parts of the state are getting rain at a rate of 1 inch an hour. In Southern California, homes in the hills have been left literally teetering because the rain has washed away the earth beneath them. There have been dozens of mudslides, including here on the Pacific Highway in Malibu. Crews have been trying to clear away the mud. And what a scene it was in Los Angeles today. A man walking his dogs got caught by flash flooding by a river. A helicopter had to pluck the man and his dogs out of the water and pull them up by rope. At the Jersey Shore, the wind-driven rain has caused some minor street flooding tonight, like here along Arctic Avenue in Atlantic City. One gas station along 9th Street in Ocean City was left underwater. High winds also brought down a tree along Peachin Street in Roxborough in Philadelphia, knocking out power to a handful of homes. And a flood warning remains in effect for the Christina River in northern Newcastle County, Delaware, although no major problems have been reported there. Fingerprints are normally taken in police stations, not before school board meetings. But that's exactly what happened tonight in Upper Merion. Action News reporter Dan Cuellar explains.
In an extraordinary move to identify a nasty letter writer, 5 of 9 Upper Merion area school board members voluntarily agreed to be fingerprinted tonight.
We really want to bring this to closure. We feel that it's distracting us from the job and the responsibility that we have to be on the school board, and that's for children and for education.
Basically, it's to try and help bring a closure to this whole issue and to remove any cloud of suspicion that might be on any board member so we can get beyond this.
The fingerprints were collected by the Snyder Bureau of Investigation, a private investigator hired by the school board. The agency is trying to determine who's responsible for a rash of personal and scary letters received by some board members and residents. It is believed the letters may have been written by a current or former board member. The letters have been coming for 5 years now. Police were called in to investigate, and although they did find 2 fingerprints on the letters, they have not been able to learn who's responsible. That's why the school board hired the private investigator.
We've been harassed with these letters for a number of years, and we just wanted to end.
The 4 board members who did not submit the fingerprinting declined to comment tonight, but earlier they said they had nothing to hide and found it all humiliating. Even so, some residents preferred that they had gone along with it anyway.
I feel that if you have nothing to fear, then what's the point of not getting your fingerprints done? It just looks very suspicious to me.
And they should have nothing to hide. If they say no, then I say throw them off the board.
The issue promises to become even more contentious. The private eyes say if the fingerprints collected don't provide clues to the culprit, they may consider giving lie detector tests down the road. I'm Dan Cuellar, Channel 6 Action News, Upper Merion.
School officials in Pine Hill, Camden County say they will not be bullied by bomb threats. Parents, teachers, and students turned out at the meeting of the school board tonight in Pine Hill. Officials distributed flyers with information about the recent bomb scares at Overbrook High School. There have been 17 in all, but last Tuesday, 1,800 students were evacuated to buses while police found a phony bomb on the roof of the school. Tonight, the school board solicitor issued a stern warning.
If you try it, we will seek you out and we will throw you out. You have my word.
The latest in a serious onslaught of Pacific storms is ravaging Southern California tonight. Good evening and good morning. I'm Dave Schwartz. It's 1:30, and you are in touch with the Weather Channel. A real serious situation. In Laguna Beach, earlier on Monday, cleanup crews used heavy equipment to remove mud and rocks from the Pacific Coast Highway. The road's been littered with debris in several locations. In Brentwood, outside of L.A., several homes were evacuated because of a moving hillside. Also, a wall of mud in Ventura County caused some trouble. Here in Malibu tonight, roads are closed. And in Laguna Beach, reports of roads closed due to mud and water. And boy, has there been plenty of that, not just from the coast, but from the sky. With a heavy surf advisory, folks have been sandbagging. Mount Wilson, just north of Pasadena, over 10 inches of rain. That's more rain up at Mount Wilson, just above Pasadena, than we average in Phoenix in an entire year. This happened in one day. Santa Barbara, 2.25. L.A., 1.63. It's still raining at the airport. Long Beach, 1.5. Up in Red Bluff in San Francisco, we had less rain, but still, that's pretty significant. That 0.71 in San Francisco put us over the top. This is the wettest season so far, dating back to last July. It's when the season begins, when we recycle the clock for moisture. 38 inches of precipitation have fallen in San Francisco, and that is the wettest season so far this century in San Francisco. Bakersfield, California, with the wettest February on record, over 5 inches of rain. We've gotten plenty here today, too. A stalled out cold front here in Southern California, and a vigorous upper-level disturbance moving into San Diego County and northern Baja California will keep the heavy rain in your life for the next 6 to 12 hours. Then it will taper off in California, but we may need flood watches here in Arizona, Phoenix and Tucson included. Well, that's one storm. Another storm has been raging here in the East Coast. You remember the tornadoes of last night? Terrible killer tornadoes in Florida. More people died in that tornado outbreak last night at this time than died when Hurricane Andrew came ashore in South Florida. You remember that one, obviously. Well, fortunately, there's no severe weather here tonight. In New York City, we've had a cold rain falling all day and night. Winds have been gusting to about 30 miles per hour, and our video shows just that. Here in Midtown Manhattan, rain falling in the lights, a wet track, but with the temperature up around 40 degrees. That's all it was. But the wind was gusty. Look at this umbrella. Whoops. Turn your, what is that? Be a smile, be your umbrella. I guess it became a smile. That umbrella became a smile. Fortunately, just rain in New York City. But this is going to be a slow-moving storm system. A slow-moving storm system here on the East Coast. And the upper levels are going to get a little bit colder here. Up in the clouds, the temperatures are going to get a little bit colder. So while we've had some warm, humid air come in from the southeast, as this storm rolls on by, it's going to get a little colder from the northwest, just a little. But that could make the difference between rain and snow, maybe in western and northern suburbs of New York City by Tuesday night. We'll keep you posted. It'll be a close call. Up in the mountains, it's been pretty snowy, that's for sure, from North Carolina all the way up to Pennsylvania, where a foot of snow has been recorded. No sunshine for you in New York City, that's for sure, in the morning. But in Washington, D.C., there might be some sunshine by afternoon rush hour. This will be a slow mover. There'll be this wraparound moisture. It's just going to be hanging around back here all day. But with a persistent west to northwest wind, you just might be able to break up some of those clouds in Washington. We'll see. Better chance in Richmond and Norfolk of seeing sunshine in the afternoon. And even a better chance in Charlotte and Atlanta, where you may not even see a cloud at all. Here in Florida, it'll be a brisk morning, but fortunately no storms, and with strong high pressure here in the middle of the country, that should keep any rough stuff away as the cleanup continues here across central Florida from that spate of tornadoes. Double-barreled low pressure attached to a cold front that heads all the way down into the tropics. Our tropical connection, the reason for all of that rain, plus the slow movement of our storm and the intensity of the storm in Southern California. But fortunately, what is there tonight will be out by this time on Tuesday night. So, two basic storms In between, very mild Pacific air once this storm moves out. Mild air is going to be moving in, and once the storm moves out of California, it'll be very, very pleasant, even warm this weekend. Let's take a look. Hey, even if you're not traveling, if you can stay around town, here's your forecast for the next 5 days. Let's hit the road, though, and strike up the band.
A gifted psychic can help you. Take control. Find out how. Sample a real psychic now. Is he faithful? When will I have money? I want to change my career. Is it a boy? Sample our psychics. Find out how. Hear them now. They know your problems. They know your dreams. They know your hopes, desires, concerns. Try it now. Take control. Sample our psychic. Find out how. Adults over 18 only.
Does he love me? Can I trust her? When will my luck change? Your